or you will be pointed out as an hombre.
You got prayer, right?
Get it?
Good. I like seeing our citizens.
When the mayor comes in, clap.
I got 6 o'clock. Everybody ready?
Yep.
All right, I got 6 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Mayor Wansley's running a few minutes late, so he'll be here in about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. So if y'all would please rise and join Councilman Burns in the prayer.
Divine and most gracious God, we thank you for today. We thank you for your blessings, God. We thank you for your darling son, Jesus. God, we thank you for an opportunity to come back together again. God, we thank you for not only keeping us the past couple of days, God, but we thank you for keeping us in our everyday walk.
Amen.
God, we ask that you please forgive us of our sins, both knowing and unknowing. God, we thank you for Leslie Black and the staff here in the White House. God, thank you for their resilience, God. Thank you for their hearts to serve the citizens of White House, Texas. Now, God, as we move forward in this meeting, we ask that you go before us, God. Reside in us, rest in us, rule and abide in our hearts as we move forward. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everybody's sounding good. So, yeah, can we go ahead and do the roll call, Ms. Nicholas?
Yes, sir. James Wansley, Zach Briscoe,
Here.
Francel Burns. Here. John Chambers.
Here.
Michael Lowe.
Here.
Matt Lazarin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, that'll take us to section D, presentations, which there are none. So we'll go to item E, which is community interest. This is the section of the agenda shall allow any member of the city council, the mayor, or the city manager the opportunity to discuss minor non-action items such as recognition, scheduling, and upcoming civic events that are not listed on the agenda and which require no action by the council. Mrs. Black?
Council, we have released applications for openings on the Planning and Zoning Commission. So if anyone is interested, we encourage them to fill that out and return them back to Ms. Nichols so that you all can appoint to fill any vacancies that we may have on that commission. Just as a reminder, I know I notified you all by email, but wanted to let everyone else know that we have recently received just over $300,000 in grants for two significant projects. One is the Street Safety Action Plan through the Safe Streets for All. What that does is help us develop a plan for our roadways, but more importantly, it positions us better to receive grant funding in the future for critical infrastructure, including sidewalks that we will be applying for going forward. The other grant is the CDBG MIT RCP grant that you all know we've been talking about for the last 18 months. That grant was finally approved, and we've had the kickoff with that with the Texas General Land Office, so we're excited to get started on that. That will be about an 18-month project now that we've gone through the 18-month application period, so we're really excited to get to work on that. Development Services Director Jay Cooter will be the lead on both of those projects. And then I also want you to know that we're working with the city engineer to put together an application for the state water infrastructure grant. If you all will remember, that is legislation that came about in this last legislative session that allocates over $1 billion for Texas water infrastructure funding. So we'll be working diligently to put together a strong grant application for that. The Chamber of Commerce will hold their annual banquet this coming Thursday at the high school. So it's too late to get tickets if you don't have them already, but I hope to see you all there. And then we did receive some encouraging news on the ClimaVision weather radar that you all have approved to go on top of the Hagen Road water tower. We did hear that their funding for that project was included in the federal omnibus bill that was recently passed and signed by President Trump over the weekend. So we should start seeing some movement on that project moving forward soon.
Hot dog. Good deal.
It's a lot of good news and community interest.
Thank you, Leslie. Any questions or comments?
Happy to see the radar. I think it's gonna be a big advantage for our city and the surrounding counties, big time.
I think so too.
So I'm really excited about it.
All right, that takes us to section F, consent agenda. There's 7 items before you. If there are no questions or if no one has anything they want to get on the main agenda, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
So we're gonna change up the agenda just a little bit, just due to some time constraints. So we're gonna start, in section G, my apologies, with number 3, discussion, consideration, and action on fiscal year end 2025 audit, Golub, Morgan, and Petty. All right. Please state your name and.
Kevin Cashin with the firm of Golub, Morgan, Petty. It's great to be here tonight with you, council. Thank you for helping me out with some of my time constraints. I've got another meeting I've got to leave and go to. That time of year, it seems like there's a presentation every night. But thank you very much for allowing me to speak. This is a report tonight on your audit for 9/30/25. We spoke in detail with Leslie and Jennifer last week to go over this. I'm not going to cover all the details we discussed, but I do want to hit on a few things for you tonight. First and foremost, thanks to Jennifer, her staff, to Leslie, everyone here, for all the hard work that they put in. They do a great job for y'all. I know y'all are aware of that, and we appreciate everything they do to help us get this report out for you. If you turn, I think some of you may have it, you've got a hard copy in front of you. I'll direct you to some page numbers real briefly. If you go to page 1, that is the most important thing why I'm here tonight, and that's to present the opinion on the financial statements. The financial statements for the city of White House as of 9/30/25, they're your responsibility as a city council with your management team. But if you look at the second paragraph there, it states that in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the city and its major funds and the remaining fund information as of 9/30/25. And the changes in financial position were applicable. This is considered to be a clean or unmodified audit opinion. This is the highest opinion we can render on the city's financial statements. The MD&A document is where I want to just kind of briefly discuss a few things with you tonight. If you'll turn to page 7. There's a condensed table there that shows your changes in net position for the year. This is kind of a glorified income statement for the city. It's split out into 2 phases, one on the governmental activity side, and the other side, of course, is the business activity side. Business activities is pretty simple. We'll touch on that first. That's your water and sewer operations, or your utility fund. You'll see there charges for services increased between 24 and 25 from $3.5 million to a little over 3.7. So that's about a $234,000 increase for the year. Again, we expected a lot of these things. Again, when we do your audit, we go in with expectations on what we think we'll see, what we think the financials will present. That's something we anticipated seeing with the increase for the year. So overall, that resulted in your total revenues on that side going from a little over $4.5 million to $4.732. Your expenses went down, which is good, mostly in interest. As you pay down your debts over there, those bonds that are being carried, we're paying less and less interest cost. So that's a good thing. We'll look at that in a minute. I want to point something out to you. So total expenses were $3.7 million the year before, and they went to $3.55 million for 25. So with the transfers, you actually went from an increase of $681,000 in the previous year to an increase of a little over $1,068,000 in 25. So very good year. As I continue to work with cities for years and years, continue to see a rise and increase on that side is a good thing. That's a great thing because it's costing more and more to supply water and sewer services to your citizens. If you look over on the governmental activity side, there's a lot of funds that make this up. The biggest thing, of course, is your general fund, which is your main operating fund. But the other thing that was pivotal over the last 2 or 3 years that went away in 25 was your ARPA fund. The ARPA money that you got, that's gone. It's been spent, it's been used in a lot of great ways to enhance things here in the city. When we met last week, I got to see your new city center. Beautiful facility, great job that y'all did there. I know that's something you have a lot to be proud of. If you look at the governmental activities, you'll see total revenues went from $10.7 million to a little over $11 million. It's about a $231,000 increase. And again, we saw things that we expected to see. The grants were down some. Again, that's where we basically spent the remaining portion of those ARPA funds for the year. Last year was a little over $1 million, and that, if you'll remember, resulted in a single audit. We had to do compliance testing related to that grant. Because the expenditures dropped, and also the federal increase went from $750,000 to $1 million, you weren't required to have a single audit for 25. Property taxes went up, and again, we see that all across East Texas as property valuations have continued to go up. Sales taxes continue to go up from $1.67 million to $1.764. Interest income dropped, on your earnings on your monies dropped, which again, we expected to see because a lot of that ARPA money got spent early in the fiscal year. That money was gone. We've been collecting some good interest on that, over the course of the few years that we've had that. Expenditures, increased from 3.5 million to, actually went, I'm sorry. Yes, went from 7.27 million to 8.76 million. That's an increase of about $1.185 million. But overall, our change in net position was still healthy. We had an increase in the previous year of 3.5, and then in 25 we had an increase of 2.363 million on that side. So that's very good. Any questions on that? I'm going to diverse a little bit, if you'll bear with me. Go back in your back of the schedule. This is something I like to just kind of go over with you every so often. Schedule 1484. I apologize. Put your glasses on or hold it out. It's small print to fit everything onto the one page. I think it's important to look at because this shows your overall indebtedness for the city. Mainly looking back at some of the bonded debt you've carried for several years. The water and sewer bonds, a lot of those bonds, they're fixing to retire here in the next 2 to 3 years, which is a good thing. Now, usually when I mention that to the city, especially city managers, they say, well, guess what? We're fixing to probably have to increase some more, issue some more debt. And that's going to happen. As your city continues to grow and develop and do different things, that's something that's always on the horizon. If you look the middle of the page there, you'll see the increase for the year of the 25 certificates that were issued during the years, right towards the tail end of the year. And that was the new debt that was issued for the year. But I did just want to point that out to you again. We've got some of these series are fixing to roll off, but I'm sure that there will be some things coming down the horizon. So, any questions on that? I'm gonna open the floor, let Leslie speak. I'm sure she's got something she wants to throw in.
So council, as we talk about that indebtedness and even our change in net position, a couple of things that we know that are coming up, just tonight alone, we have about $550,000 worth of capital expenditures on our wastewater side that we're able to cash fund because of that change in net position. So that is very intentional. It is by design. We knew that that's what was that we were going to have that change in net position that would allow us to address some of these things. One of them is an aging lift station that we have spent $20,000 in repairs alone this fiscal year. So I want to add that caveat in there that is by design and by plan so that we can cash fund some of those things. We will do our very best to maximize, again, like the State Water Infrastructure Grant Fund to pay for water improvements, but we will start seeing some wastewater improvements that are going to be needed in the next couple of years. So we'll make sure that we're staying on top of that planning, capital planning, to make sure that we're well positioned for that as we go forward.
And I commend you for the ability to be able to do that. You're not in a position where when things happen, you just automatically have to say, well, we gotta go issue new debt to take care of it. And there was a point in time in the life of the city where that was the case. I've been around a long time, and there was a time that's what had to happen. But you put yourself in a position now where you've budgeted well year in, year out. You're setting back reserves. You're able to cash flow things. You're able to take care of these things within your current year budget, and that's a good thing. So, any questions on anything? Very good year for 25. Again, compared to 24, things continue to progress well here. You've got a lot to be proud of here in the city. So, Mayor, thank you for joining.
Hey, so happy to be here.
Ms. Leslie, just to confirm, this is that state required thing that a bunch of cities got in trouble for. y'all stay on top of this, so I appreciate that.
Right, so state legislation in 2025 required that cities who do not have their financial audit completed within 90 days of the fiscal year end are then subject to some other limitations on the tax rate. Our audit has, Golub Morgan Petty has always been a great partner in making sure that we get that, is it 90 or 180 days?
I think it's 180.
180 days. We're always within the time frame, so we appreciate their partnership and making sure that we get it done.
I hope the public understands this is a big deal.
It is.
Really is. Coming from the state where I'm from, you know, it's a formal examination of financial records, and it makes me very proud. You're an independent CPA. It's a big deal.
Any questions? I know some of this is great to you, but, again, I appreciate you letting me be here and go over this with you tonight.
Yes, sir.
And council, Jennifer, up until this past year, has handled all of our financial, everything, on her own. So we were able to add a team member this past fiscal year, but the bulk of that falls on Jennifer and the stuff that she does each and every day to make sure that our audit process runs smoothly. Most of the rest of us don't even know that that's happening. And that does not happen in every other city, I can tell you.
Promise you, it does not.
I would entertain a applause for that.
It makes me
I
really
would.
uncomfortable. but
I
she
mean,
does
that's a big
great job.
deal.
And she's still smiling, so,
And she's still smiling.
Yeah. We try to make it easy. All right, thank y'all.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Kevin. And thank you, Jennifer. Again,
Yeah.
great job. All right, for the record, Mayor Wansley has joined us, so, just to catch you up, we started with number 3, so that would put us back at number 1.
We do
Okay.
need action to accept
Yes.
the fiscal year.
Okay, I'm sorry about
No,
that.
that's okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for taking that. Does he need to finish this item, or can I take it?
Either way.
Okay. I'll go ahead and start driving. All right, council, you've heard discussion.
I'd like to make a motion.
Motion?
I'll second.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the fiscal year in 2025 audit by Golub, Morgan, and Petty.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the motion carries. So we've covered all of the consent agenda items, community interest. We're down to the Gs. I understand we started on G3, so that brings us back to item G1, which is a public hearing, discussion, consideration, and action on a rezoning request in Hagan Oaks subdivision at 600 block of Hagan Road, minus tract 56 and 57, a 2+ acre land in the E. Brown Survey, ACE 87, Smith County, Texas, from residential medium density plan development, RMP, to residential medium density plan development, RMPD. Amending plan development by constructing single-family units with a minimum home size of 1,100 square feet, removing the private gate and the age restrictions. This is ordinance 26-0127-01. And here to speak on this, we want to open it up to public meeting or have Jake speak first?
Mayor, if you would, let's have Mr. Hooter give a little bit of background and then we can open up the public.
Yes, sir.
hearing
Mr.
discussion.
Hooter, take it away, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Okay, this property was sold to a new property owner who is requesting these changes. The property had been previously zoned as residential medium density plan development. The developer is requesting changes to the plan development, therefore needed to come back before P&Z and for City Council for approval. The requested amendments are changing the age restriction, removing the entry gate, and reducing the square footage of each dwelling from approximately 1,600 square foot to 1,100 square foot. The table in your packets show the dimensional requirements and uses for the current and proposed zonings. A note to add is the dimensional requirements. Minimum lot area square footage says both are 3,600 square foot per lot. This is one lot, it's not platted into individual lots. Notices were published in the newspaper, posted outside of City Hall and council chambers, mailed to property owners within 200 foot of the subject property, and a sign was posted at the subject property. We have had 3 requests for information and all have been responded to. We also had 3 people voice comments at P&Z and 1 person voiced a comment through email, which has been printed out and given to each of you. We also had 2 letters that were sent to each of you as well. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommending council approval and the developer is also here tonight if we have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hooter. All right. Without objection, I'll go ahead and suspend the regular council meeting and take us into the public hearing, and that'll be at 6:19 PM. We're now in public hearing. I have 3 people that have signed up to speak on this topic. Starting with Stacy Waker. Hopefully I got that right, W-A-I-K-E-R, or Walker?
There you go.
Walker, all right. Got you, Stacy Walker. If you'd like to come up and just state your name and address for the record and tell us what you'd like us to know, please.
All right, even council, thanks for this chance to speak, Joe. I've never done this before, so.
It's all right, don't be nervous.
All right. I don't know what is under consideration as far as this goes. I don't begin to think that we're gonna just shut this down, but everything I've seen about it, says this is going from something that appeared to be safe and considered to, you know, something that is getting smaller, there's less security. I live directly abutting this property, all right? My main concern is when you have very small properties, that have 0 parking on it whatsoever, it looks like we're going into a low-income situation, all right, for the properties. I just ask, is there any, I don't know who the developer is, or whatever, maybe they can answer this, is there gonna be any sort of security fencing around this thing to ensure that, you know, that there is some buffer between the 2 different, neighborhoods? You know, simply because, like I said, I live directly adjoining the property. I've had to retrieve balls and airplanes from my grandson, things like that. I can stand on that property, it's higher than mine, and it's looking right into my home, all right? And I just would feel a lot better knowing there was some sort of buffer, all right? So, that's about the big question I have.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments. So the developer is here, and I think that they plan to make comments, but I think it'd be good to go ahead and get the public comments out in the open so that the developer can address these kind of all at the same time. Is that correct, Ms. Conway? You comfortable with that? All right, so the next person that signed to speak was Mr. Jim Nip. Come up and state your name and address for the record. This is not his first time.
Nor probably his last.
Jim Nip, 813 Blackbird Way, here in White House. I made notes because they said I only had 21 minutes to speak, and hey, I'm not opposed to development. I'm not opposed to planning and zoning changes in the city, not at all, right? I'm not opposed to that. But the planning and zoning safeguards that are in place differ in the city than they do from a county where they don't exist, and it's part of the attraction that made us move here, right? Before we buy or build on a property, we look at the zoning for the adjacent property, and we know that there are gonna be safeguards in place and that we're fine to build there, versus the county, we could put up a $400,000 or $500,000 house and then have anything in the world come right next to it. So when zoning changes occur after development, which is what we're talking about here, zoning was in place, a development occurred, a neighborhood was built, those safeguards were in place. And when we look at downgrading zoning after that development in place, it undermines the trust that citizens have in that process. It undermines our trust in the city. It undermines our trust in you. It undermines the protection that we have, the attraction from moving in the city and all that comes with that versus living out in the county. So the neighborhood surrounding the lot in question here was developed with zoning protections in place. $400,000 and $500,000 homes were built adjacent to a property that was going to be a quaint little 2-acre tract with some senior citizens. That's 1 or 2 people in a home, and a little gated enclave adjacent to that subdivision. And now that it's built, and now that those citizens are there, like the one that was just here, to change that is a substantial downgrade in the zoning. So although it's still medium density, the planned development that was planned was quaint and an attraction for home buyers and home builders there, and now it's very much the opposite. So I understand the need for affordable housing. I just think it has to be done in a way that it's out in the open and it's transparent. And you know, I get that demand changes. I was here to speak on my own neighborhood. not that long ago. Same way, it was developed with low-density residential, and the neighborhood was developed, and then the request came, so to increase the density, to move that to medium density, which is a substantial change. I think that the citizens of White House shouldn't have to be vigilant every day that they live in their home that they bought and built with the safeguards that are in place. They shouldn't have to monitor their mail and signs on the street to believe that those protections are still going to be in place. I believe that's why the Planning and Zoning Committee is there and the city has developmental rules. I wish that we would move towards more of those so that we don't have to constantly be on defense, because the fear is from a citizen that's invested in the city is that if I don't make one of these meetings and speak in our defense, that zoning change will happen, and I'll have substantial change to one of the biggest investments that I've ever made. So I thank you. I thank each one of you. Thank you for your ear, for receiving my email and not flaming in return, but I appreciate it. I'm not angry. I'm not upset at this. I get it. I get why you would want to build housing that's affordable, because there would be a huge demand for it. I just don't think that it should be that it is appropriate next to an already developed neighborhood that developed with zoning in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. All right, our last sign up is Larkin Hayden. You can come on up and state your name and address for the record and let us know what you'd like to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Hayden, address 902 Jackie Ray.
I've messed that up so bad.
That's okay.
Put that microphone a little closer to you, because I want to hear it.
There you
You
go.
want to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
You're
got
important.
it. Okay. I wrote something out. Is that okay to read off my phone?
Sure.
Mayor Wonsley and council members, I'm speaking as a Sunny Meadows resident to express my strong opposition to the rezoning request scheduled for tonight. Many of us built or purchased our homes based on the original development plan presented by Billy Moss, which targeted a 55-plus gated community and a compatible planned development next door. The proposed rezoning to a dense, low-income tiny home development fundamentally changes that plan and undermines the expectations we relied on when investing in our homes. This rezoning raises concerns regarding decreased property values, increased traffic, public safety. White House takes pride in being one of the top safest cities in Texas, and approving this proposal risks damaging both our neighborhood and the city's reputation. To date, similar rezoning requests that lower development quality have not been approved in nearby cities, including Tyler. Zoning protection should mean something. If plans can be changed after residents have already built and bought based on city-approved development, it calls for the integrity of the process into question. I respectfully urge that you oppose this rezoning request and protect the long-term integrity of Sunny Meadows and the city of White House. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is all the members we have, all the citizens we have signed up to speak on this section, but it is an open meeting. If you would like to speak on this subject and you are in the crowd, then come on up, state your name and address for the record.
Sorry, I was late.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Hello, guys. My name's Mike Cherry. My wife Marla and I live on 1003 Jackie Ray. I'm gonna start from, I'm an old retired oil and gas person, so they always say in our meetings, you gotta start with safety first, so I'm gonna start with safety. If you ever, I know y'all are familiar with it, if you go up Memory past the White House Cemetery and you take a left, well, as soon as you take a left, that's where this proposed area is. Taking a left already is a very, very dangerous turn right there. There's a fence there. I can see a little above it, maybe catch another truck in my truck, my wife's car. I can't see. I've nearly been hit twice in that area. So you add more congestion, and especially where this place is. Y'all know how busy Hagan Road is with all the new homes, and they're still building them down towards 346. It's just, to me, it just adds more congestion. It's gonna be a problem with that left turn. I don't know the answer to make that any safer regardless if this goes through or not. But anyway, that's my concern from a safety point. Other concern is property values, of course, we all, like somebody said earlier, we invested, it's our biggest investment we ever make is our homes usually. And, so originally this sounded like a 55 plus, you know, retirement type community with a gated fence. And understand they don't have a driveway now, there's just a road in the middle, that's what I understand. And, I just think it screams rent houses. And I think that's what it'll turn into, is a, lower developed, area. And, our property values will suffer because of that. So I appreciate the time and I request that y'all to deny this rezoning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else in attendance that would like to speak on this topic? All right. Mr. Conaway, would you like your comments to be a part of the public hearing?
Yes, please.
All right.
My name is Brent Conaway. I represent the developer. There are a lot of these comments that were mentioned are things that we considered whenever we approached this piece of property. Keep in mind that we're taking sixplexes. There are 2 sixplexes and 1 fourplex. And what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to do single-family detached houses. And that's kind of where we don't like building sixplexes. We prefer to have single family. So that was the reason why we requested single family here. We took the gate away, the private gate. We're wanting to take that away from the front. We're still wanting to keep the presence of the community with brick columns, like was in wood fence across the front, just to preserve the little enclave of houses there. We chose 1,100 square foot because that's the maximum size that we can go single family without going 2-story, which really is going to be more of a privacy issue to the surrounding residents. So we're wanting to keep them 1 story. There's privacy fence currently on 2, I would say 2.5 sides. Some of the fences to the west are need to be straightened up, but there's some privacy fences already in place. The drainage of the property all drains forward. Keep in mind that it's already zoned right now for 16 houses, 2 sixplexes and 1 fourplex. So we're not really adding any more density. We're just wanting to detach them. And the private drive, still private drive, it comes in, and then there'll be driveways off of that. It'll be professionally managed, maintained mode. And so I respect what they're saying, but what we feel like we're doing is by going single family, we're reducing the need to go 2-story, and there will actually be less rooftop, less drainage runoff than if it's just a big sixplex on each side of the street with a fourplex at the very end of the street. So those are the reasons why we're asking for the changes to the existing, because we prefer to build single family. We've never built a sixplex. Don't ever really care about building a sixplex. That's a different group of builders, and we're not that builder. But if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Any questions from council?
So what happened to the retirement community?
The retirement community, so this is something that's actually happened in several cities around. They're like, we need retirement communities. And yes, we agree, we do need retirement communities. We have never gone in and age restricted. It's 50 years old. That's hardly retirement, but but we've never restricted any neighborhood that we've ever built in, ever. And because we want the market to decide if that's the place they want to live or don't. And so we let the market decide that. We've never decided ourselves. So that was something that we wanted to remove from this property and let the residents decide.
What do you think these things will sell for?
They'll be north of, probably in the 220s, 230s.
Brent, can you
That
play
was,
your,
that was the appraisal.
so it's all, it will remain all one lot though,
It's-
so they
it's all-
cannot,
It's all one lot. The biggest change that we're wanting to make is we don't want sixplexes. We've never built sixplexes. We don't care about building sixplexes. This one has a sixplex on the east side of the road. The private drive has a sixplex on the west side, and then the fourplex at the very end. And the 1,100 square foot allows us to go single story and not just cram a bunch of houses in there.
So they were more like townhomes when they were sixplexes, when they were two-story, they were kind of townhome,
Yes.
yeah, approach.
So I will say, all the feedback I got was all opposing, which I find interesting. Every once in a while, you know, it's 50-50, sometimes you get a majority, but all the feedback I got was opposing it, which was surprising to me. And most everything I heard was the no gate, the age restriction changed it. You know, because I think a lot of people in the neighborhoods around it could see moving in and maybe moving their mother-in-law or father-in-law into the original development idea, something like that. Apparently there was supposed to be a dog park in the initial proposal.
That was on the initial plans. Yeah, there's gonna be some open areas, for dog parks. I mean, it's not gonna live, it being single story, it's gonna live better for a, retired person. But, currently, I believe the age restriction is 50. I'm over 50 and I'm not anywhere near retirement.
I'm hoping to be retired by 55. Good luck. I think the biggest feedback I got though is people worried about the property values, and they were worried about, you know, these being rental homes, and they live in a nice neighborhood that they've invested a lot of their money in, and they're worried that this is going to bring down their property values. And I can kind of see a point where this would be an issue. If I'd lived next door, I'd be worried about my property values and who's moving in next door into what looks to me like it's going to be rent houses.
Yeah. I mean, yes, nobody wants to live back to a density neighborhood. It just comes down to, you know, we're still wanting to have the same neighborhood feel. With the brick columns and the fence across the front, have kind of a private street there. We're still trying to do the same thing. None of that's gonna change. The age, we've never developed anything, with age restriction. So, I mean, it's your guys' call here. But if this doesn't go down, or this doesn't go for a vote, an approval vote, you know, there could be two-story houses there with, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's already zoned. It's already ready to go right now. I mean, somebody can go break ground right now and start to do stuff that no one likes. And we're not trying to do that. We're trying to create like a little enclave of homes with nice front porches and try to bring the people forward, and that's what we're trying to do here.
And these houses won't have garages?
No, sir.
So they'll park on the street?
They'll have minimum of, they'll have garage, they'll have parking and kind of off-centered.
Good.
they will have driveways that
They will
are,
have
that allow for
driveways, yes.
off-street parking.
Okay.
Yeah, and the main road is a private road, we're not asking for a public road. We're just changing, we're wanting to change the square footage so we can go single family, detached, remove the age restriction, because we've never done that before. Prefer to let the market decide that, and then remove the private gates.
I do want to say my first two homes were Conway homes, and you're definitely a valued partner in our community. Y'all built a lot of houses, so we appreciate that. Just have to see if this is the right thing.
Well, I for one, I love the idea. I could not have moved to White House had it not been for a property owner that had a house that made it available for me to rent. So I commend you for that, if that's the direction you're going. But what I do not like is something that was presented and then all of a sudden it was changed. I don't like that part of it, if I'm being honest. So I want to know what was the deal breaker? What happened to where the citizens, everyone was thinking one thing, and then all of a sudden now it's not?
It's just cost. I mean, back whenever that was all created, you could probably do those for $175,000, $200,000, and now it'd probably be $300,000. And that's the difference. And unfortunately, our salaries and everything else haven't gone up at that same rate. It's a real problem.
If this is voted down, do you think y'all will end up not developing this property for a while?
We've got this property under contract, so, I mean, pretty much, you guys decide. And and we're not trying to pull a fast one on the city or the residents, we're wanting to, we want to create a model.
And I believe when you get up into sixplexes, you get fire breaks between units, there's ADA compliance, there's the things that lead up to the expenses that Mr. Conaway's talking about that don't exist with single-family detached dwellings. And one of the concerns was these are gonna become rental units. Is that the plan, that these would be offered for rent?
They, that's likely, but we're gonna restrict the community, and, so it's gonna be, and we've done this with other places too. It'll have restrictions, it'll be professionally managed, the yards and things like that, because we're finding out, and just the same thing we're doing over in, the Village on Main. It'll be professionally maintained like that, it's because we're trying to get the yards to be professionally maintained, but, yes, it's very likely that these will be rental houses, some of them may sell, but, most likely rental houses. I mean, that's, unfortunately, these days, people can't afford to buy their house, so, I mean, they're laying on rental, and I don't, that's just,
What are the proposed restrictions you're talking about?
they will be basically identical to, the Village on Main out there on 346.
And
Common
just to be clear,
sprinklers.
these couldn't be sold without being replatted, because it's all one lot.
Because
Right, it's all
that's why you
It's
keep
all
saying
So
that.
that's right.
Yes.
So that implies that they will be rental units, right? And the restrictions that were on the current zoning, oh, this isn't a question for you, I'm sorry. That'd be a question for Mrs. Black, I don't wanna keep you up here any longer than, necessary. Any more questions from council, for Mr. Conaway?
I like the idea, I just don't like where it would be, so I would love to see you do this, but just not in that location.
Thank you, sir.
Sure, Ms. Conley.
All right, I believe my questions can be left for the main agenda item, so I'm gonna go ahead and, if nobody has any further comments or statements during the meeting, then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing down. Time is 6:42. We are now out of the public meeting and we'll reconvene into regular council session. So, open it up to discussion from council. Any other comments or questions from Mrs. Black?
I agree with Mrs. Burns.
So, my question was, the restrictions that are on the current zoning, are they restricting it to a age in that community, to a 55 and older?
That was part of one of the requirements of the current zoning, yes. So
Okay,
under-
that's included in that zoning. So
That's
that can't change unless somebody comes before P and Z in here and takes that off, right?
Yes, which is what one of the requests before you tonight is
Okay,
to remove that.
okay. And I don't remember anybody having a complaint about the current zoning that's proposed. Must not have been, because we didn't, we didn't catch wind of
Do
it.
you know how long ago that was, Ms. Black?
So it would have been in 2019 or 2020.
Yeah, that was our time, you on P and Z and me on council. So I don't remember any issue with the current zoning. But I myself, I think I received 10 emails about this. And, I think two of those people are here tonight. One of the people that spoke, two of the people that spoke is not. So there is a lot of attention on the change here, and that's probably true. It's right off the back of another development change that tried to happen nearby, so, nerves were already kinda high, on this. So is there any further discussion from council?
I mean, other than my goal is to grow the city as much as we can, commercially, residentially. I think it's great for everybody that our city grows. It has to grow in a way, though, that is responsible to the people who already live here, who's already invested as stakeholders in our community. I think the Conaways is a great company. They've built great houses, and they've built a number of houses in our city, and I value them very much. But also value the citizens who are gonna live in that area, and, I mean, this was overwhelmingly, an issue that they did not agree with, and I understand why.
Any further discussion?
The major objection is the removal of the age restriction portion of this, this zoning,
And I think
correct?
the reduction in square footage as well.
So to Mr. Conway's, kind of his statement, like, if you're talking about these being primarily aimed as like a retirement community, right? The age restriction kind of sets that. Some of the other options and how that's configured, right? Like sixplex or whatever, all that stuff. Those types of constraints, if you split it off, you still maintain kind of the quiet community, even if they're small like this, if they're single story, right? So I think that for me personally, what I hear from the community is that we want to control kind of what the nature of the rental is. And if it forced it to two-story, then some of the other concerns where you could see into backyards and all that kind of stuff would be a more significant concern. So for me personally, I don't want to remove the age restriction, but I'm not opposed necessarily, you know, like to hear some other opinions, but I'm not opposed to, you know, reducing the size requirement,
Yeah, single story.
single story. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, keeping the age restriction and then approving, you know, the less amount of units. But the single story, you know, single-family dwellings.
It's also the average, I think it's the common square footage too, maybe going from 1,600 to 1,100
Yeah.
was part of it. It's just a smaller size. Was one, that came up in every one of them.
So they'll all be 1,100 square feet. Yeah.
If we
Maximum.
approve, right?
If we approve, yeah.
Mr. Conway, that's a maximum of 1,100?
Yes, that's the minimum.
Minimum
Yeah, if it's more than 1,100, it's gonna have to go,
price, gotcha.
it's gonna have to go two-story. And I'll let y'all.
Well, anytime you get input from the public nowadays is a joy, believe it or not. I like to hear from the people. And I got a lot of input, which I appreciate, and it was all negative, you know, opposition. So that's just how I feel.
All right, any other questions or comment from council?
It's not possible to send this back to public session to get them opinions, is it?
Back to
Procedurally?
public hearing, no, I think
Good.
are you wanting to,
I would just be curious, in the proposal where it moves to the 1,100 square foot requirement, but maintains the age restriction, I would like to hear from the citizens here if that satisfies any of their concern, or if we're still at kind of an impasse.
I would first ask the developer if their request remains if the age restriction is still in place.
Fair
And that may
enough.
be a deal breaker for them based on what he has already stated.
kind of
So-
putting you on the spot here? But the question stands that if age restriction and the current zoning was to stay in place, if you would be compelled to move forward with the development.
I don't like the idea of age restriction. If we had a big Del Webb community with clubhouses and swimming pools and everything for pickleball courts for that group, that may make sense, but we don't have anything like that. I'm not comfortable, I told City of Chandler this a couple of years ago, I'm not comfortable proceeding with any age restriction. I'll let the market decide.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Conway.
Thank you. Good call.
Asked and answered.
We're good?
All right. So on to G1. Any further discussion or questions from council? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the rezoning request for residential medium density to residential medium density RM for the property located in Hagan Oaks in the subdivision at 600 Block Hagan Road, track 56 and 57.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the motion to rezone is denied. All right, that takes us on to item G2, discussion, consideration, and action on ordinance 26-0127-02 to revise the limitation of resubmission of petition for zoning amendments. Mr. Hooter, welcome back. I forgot you were even up here earlier. And we'll just give a moment for the clear out. All right. Mr. Hooter, please proceed.
Cities across Texas commonly limit how often a denied rezoning request can be resubmitted, with most using a 6 to 12 month wait period to prevent repetitive filings that drain staff time and force nearby property owners to repeatedly attend hearings on the same issue. The proposed amendment brings our process in line with regional best practices, reduces unnecessary burdens on surrounding property owners, and still gives developers a clear, good faith path to refine proposals based on feedback. The goal is to protect the public from repetitive cases while maintaining a fair, predictable process that encourages improved collaborative development. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended reducing the waiting period from 12 months to 6 months. One commissioner opposed the recommendation and suggested a shorter waiting period of 3 months.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council on this?
No, I'll say, I asked Ms. Black, like how many resubmissions have they gotten, or do they normally average in a year? And she's like a couple to a few. So, me personally, I think changing this to 6 months isn't gonna overburden staff or anything like that in our current state, so.
Do we wanna consider 90 days? Can we approve that?
So that was one of the things that was brought up at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and my response to the question then and remains today is that to property owners that are nearby, changing it to 90 days does not feel like 90 days for them, because at 15 days to 3 weeks prior to the meeting, we'll mail notice to the property owners within 200 feet. So they'll get the notice, 2 to 3 weeks later, they're attending the meeting, or the request is denied. If the developer can turn around and refile within 90 days, we're only looking at really about 2.5 months, 2 months before they're getting that notice again. And that we're posting signs and they're asking for information, and so.
Must be like being bombarded.
90 days feels like a very quick window to the citizens.
That makes sense now.
I do think that both the council and the Planning and Zoning Commission, if you have a developer who is willing to work with nearby property owners and make changes or amendments to their request, you still have the option to table that request rather than deny it, to allow the developer time to work through any issues that may have. So it gives you the opportunity to work in good faith with developers on developments, but also the opportunity to kind of say no at some point, and so that, to Mr. Nick's point, who spoke earlier, those property owners do get a little bit of a break between those requests.
And currently, we don't have a rule in place on any time limitations, so.
So that was our concern with 90 days.
Okay, no, that makes perfect sense.
So I'm open to either the 6 months or the 12 month. I think with the volume that we're currently getting, 6 months doesn't seem like it's gonna overburden staff.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think 6 months is a lot better than what we have today. So
Which is nothing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good first step to giving our property owners a little bit of breathing room when these zoning change requests come in.
Do we know what City of Tyler does, by chance?
I believe theirs is 6 months.
I imagine they're getting a lot more resubmissions than.
Probably pretty common, 6 months.
Yeah, it seems to make sense. Like you said, if they were doing this in January, they'd be right back in
It's still
right
a
back
lot,
in
yeah.
March, and it feels like there's been no time at all. But I think it's great to have things like this, and maybe even go further, like down the road, to say, really show your work and what changes are being made in the development, and what we're going from and going to, so that the citizens are well aware of. Sometimes it's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Like sometimes it's unwarranted. In a couple of cases we've seen recently, it's warranted, right? Like the the values are changing. Just to give them a kind of a clear demonstration and kind of put that on the developer to say, here's what we're changing and here's why, and here's the impact it's gonna make to this community, short-term, long-term. I think that would be really helpful. This is a great start, I think.
And that 6 months gives enough chance for the people who live in the neighborhood to voice their opinion personally and all that. So,
All right, any further discussion from council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 26-0127-02 to revise the limitation and resubmission of petition for zoning amendments to 6 months.
Second.
Oh, I think I heard Councilman Lowe a little bit earlier. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Reader. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the motion carries. And correct me if I'm wrong, we're down to item G4.
Yes, sir.
G4 now, and going normal from now on. All right, G4, discussion, consideration, and action on a facility use agreement with Smith County Elections Administration. Ms. Nichols.
All right, Mayor and Council, since the construction began at White House City Center, Smith County Elections Administrator has expressed interest in utilizing the space as a polling location. I met with staff with the elections office to tour the facility and to discuss the process. And during their visits, they determined that the training room would be the space best suited for this use, with voters entering through the entrance on the west side of the co-working space. And so that's the doors that are near the parking lot, not near
Right.
the road.
So that would be entrance and exit there?
Yes.
Okay.
The voting periods did not have any existing rental conflicts, and the proposed setup would allow for relatively uninterrupted use of the banquet space, conference rooms, and upstairs office space. The proposed dates of use included in your packet would cover the March primary election, the May election, a May runoff, and the November general election. And I can answer any questions you guys may have.
This feels right.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think the more people that see it, I mean, that's why we built it. We built it for a community space. That's right.
Togetherness.
And any revenue we might lose on it not being rented out is gonna be offset by the people alone. Oh, hey, we have this space. We can use this. I love this. This is nice.
Yes, it is.
Is the county renting it from us?
So any public location that is used as a polling place is not subject to charging for that
Okay,
space.
I was wondering, because that might get.
They are not,
It's like free advertising.
Against the Texas.
Exactly.
yes.
So they would enter in those double doors, they would make their way to the training room. The training
Yes.
room is where the polls, the ballot boxes would be, or the voting machines would be
Yep.
set up. And then they would make their way out, okay.
Yeah, and they have a curbside voting just outside those doors, so they'd have to utilize a couple parking spaces just for curbside voting. But they would have staff at the doors to make sure to direct people the correct way. And they're aware that it's a very new building, and so if any concerns that you guys had about them, taping things to the walls, they're very aware and they're very conscious of how they treat the building, so.
Ms. Black, can you talk a little bit on what you were talking about earlier about the, not making the parking lot just a signage village?
That'll be our next item.
Okay.
Right. That is worded exactly that way.
I think it's all good. I really like it.
Yeah, any further discussion? If not, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the facility use agreement with Smith County Elections Administration.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say no.
Sorry, I was reading.
That item G4 passes. Item G5, discussion, consideration, and action on ordinance 26-0127-03, electioneering at polling locations on city property. Ms. Nichols.
All right, after discussing the potential for City Center to become a polling location, which is now an official polling location, staff drafted the attached ordinance imposing reasonable restrictions on electioneering. The Texas Election Code states that electioneering activities must be allowed when polling takes place in a public building, but provides us the ability to impose reasonable restrictions. The focus of the ordinance is on signage with the goal of protecting the city's investment in landscaping and irrigation located on the property while providing designated spaces for election-related signs. This ordinance has been reviewed by our city attorney. Staff recommends approval, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Yes, our irrigation lines are not very, very deep and they are not flagged. So we know what happens when people dig and punch holes around here. We don't want any in our brand new pipes. So what's the proposed limitations on this? How would they be described?
So they have a limit of two 2x2, two-faced signs, so lots of twos, that they could put on the property. No T-posts. They would have to use the H-frame, kind of like what you see in the
Yes.
yard signs.
Wire hanger type.
Yeah. And those could be put in, and then we have some restrictions on when they can be put in. I think that it was 24 hours prior to the beginning of polling, and then they would have to be removed within 24 hours after the end of the election.
And still 200 feet from the entrance or
So
something like that?
we do have, in the ordinance, there's a diagram of
Oh,
an
perfect.
aerial view of city center that shows where those signs can be put. They are
Perfect.
200 feet away, but they are where the irrigation's on.
Okay.
They're like the grassy areas that you'll see like in between the parking areas and near the road.
A picture. I was hoping there would be a picture. I can enforce that.
I should have put it on
That's
there.
easy, yeah. Sorry, I came in a little hot to this
No,
meeting, so I
you're
didn't pull that up. That's great. Any other questions or concerns, discussion from council?
No, I think this is great, cause, I've worked polling locations, and one of the biggest things is knowing where you can and can't put the signs, and people get in arguments, and people get mad, so I'm glad we're making this very clear and outlined.
There's gotta be limitations somewhere, you know, rules.
We felt like two 2x2 signs would allow candidates to post as required, but would keep it from looking like the circus is intent.
And it's easy to.
You'll have people that put a dozen out, probably.
This also gives us the opportunity to remove this if there's more than the requirement. And I will say, the feedback that we've had on both political parties is that they want to be in compliance, they just need clear, the
Clear
clearer the
rules.
rules, the better, the easier it is to follow, so that's our goal here. We know everyone will be good partners.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 26-0127-03, imposing reasonable restrictions on electioneering at polling locations on city property.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. With that, item G5 passes. Item G6, discussion, consideration, and action on a donation of a 0.1460 plus minus acre parcel located in abstract A0364 in the M. Gutierrez survey, tract 15H by Charles A. Morris Jr., and authorizing the city manager to execute the gift deed. Mrs. Black.
Mayor and council, we were approached by the property owner. This property is just to the east of the Starbucks location on Acrotap at the railroad crossing. And this is a remainder of a tract that was left with the Starbucks development. This was 2 parcels before Starbucks was developed, and this is what was left. This portion of the property, this entire parcel, is located in the 200-foot right-of-way of Union Pacific. So nothing can be constructed there. The property owner expressed an interest in donating it to the city of White House. And we feel like this could be a beneficial property to the city with understanding the future plans as they may be determined later
Right.
for access to that abandoned railway. So whether that becomes a walking trail, commuter rail, any of
Yeah, it
those
could be
things.
Covered
the
sitting area, picnic tables.
whatever that may be in the
Bus
future, we
stop.
felt like this would be,
Bus stop.
this could be a useful
Train
piece
station.
of property for the city over the long term, and it would allow the current property owner to quit paying property taxes on property that they can't use. So, kind of a win-win for both of us, and we felt like this would be a good thing to move forward on.
And we can maintain it if it gets unruly.
It's pretty much just trees right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not useful to anyone else, but could be useful to us in the future.
I like it. All right, any further discussion or questions from council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept the land donation of Charles A. Morris for the 0.1460 plus acre parcel located in abstract A0364 in the M. Gutierrez survey, tract 15H, and authorize the city manager to execute the gift deed.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, we are the proud new owners of that plot of land. Thank you, and thank you, Thank you, Mr. Morris, for the donation. It's great that we're entrusted by the citizens to receive gifts like that. It means a lot. All right, item H7, discussion, consideration, and action on upgrades to the lift station located at 1200 Highway 110 North. Mr. Henderson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Here to talk about the lift station at 1200 Highway 110 North, which was installed in 1977. Well beyond its expected service life, it's had required and repeated repairs due to being as old as it is. Depending on what we do to it, it had to be grandfathered in. So depending on the severity of it, we would have to do like what we're doing now, having a complete overhaul on the lift station. We have numerous times had to jet the force main because due to the pumping issues, because the pumps are wore out, the grit has built up into the force main, causing it to not pump. Like she mentioned earlier, we spent probably $20,000+ in just pumping fees for having to have the lift station pumped out until we could get the problem alleviated. Because as of right now, it's pumping at 1.3 feet per second, and TCQ requires force mains to be at 3 feet per second. And with the new pumps that we're wanting to get put in, it will put it at 4 feet per second, which would exceed that and keep the lines clear of debris and grit. And staff is recommending a overhaul of the lift station.
And where exactly is this one located?
You know where Chuck Osborne's office is, State Farm? It's right behind that. So it's in the floodplain.
Yeah, I got you.
And so with this overhaul, I mean, obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but this should give us how many more years, hopefully?
Most lift stations are built 10 to 20 years, depending on the growth. There is still a lot of potential for growth there, but with the pumps that they're putting in, they're foreseeing at least 10 to 15 years.
When y'all say overhaul, this isn't replacing it, this just
But we will
kind of
keep
rebuilding
it
it?
as we're gonna reuse the wet well. They're gonna coat it, but all they're gonna do is basically rip out because they're above ground pumps, and they're gonna drop new submersibles in, and basically the newer pumps that we'll be putting in there will be able to keep up with the demand, even with the future car wash or anything else that we get put in that area.
And this is way cheaper than a new one. So,
Unless you want to try to great grandfather this one.
Yeah.
We need to do something.
I've seen it. I've been out there and it is pretty antiquated.
I think this is necessary.
And if anything, you want the sewer to work.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, any other,
We use code words like grit, for things.
Let's just get down to the meat of the deal here.
that's
Let's just be, no sugarcoating, let's just put it out.
Make no mistake, it is a sewer main,
yeah, and any buildup is bad.
We know it.
But it's tying up a lot of y'all's time, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It really is.
And we're putting good money after bad at this
Yeah.
point.
and this is part of the COs that we issued, we had this as one of our plans, correct, from the 2025 COs?
Yes, we will use the 2025, a portion of the 2025 certificates of obligation.
Which we wanna use it for projects like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have,
that was
I think,
earmarked.
1.5 million allocated for public works projects, so this will take just over 500,000 of that.
Any more questions for Mr. Henderson? All right, thank you, sir.
And Mayor and Council, we will proceed with this as an emergency repair, with the amount of failures that we've had in that line. Staff feels that it's important that we move forward quickly on getting this rehabilitated.
How quick do you think they could get to it? Mr. Leslie?
We'll still have to get quotes from several different vendors, and that'll largely drive the timing of that, but it is a significantly reduced amount of time, if we can go through emergency purchasing procedures.
I got one more question on this. Does this plant, does it flood?
No, sir.
No, it doesn't, okay.
There
It's built
doesn't
up back
need to
there.
be a budgetary statement in the motion, does there, like a not to exceed or whatever to expedite that?
So, right now, all we have is the, engineering opinion of probable construction costs, so we would prefer to bring it back to you once we have, no, it's an emergency Yes, a not to exceed. If you would do the not to exceed of the engineer's opinion of probable construction cost total, which is
495.
All right, any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion that includes that not to exceed cost.
So I'll make a motion to approve the upgrades to lift station located at 1200 Highway 110 North with a not to exceed amount of $495,500.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. That the motion carries.
So Mayor and Council, we will proceed with getting quotes on those as long as they are, the best one is under that amount. We will proceed without bringing it back before you. If those quotes come back in higher than that, we'll bring it back to you.
Yes, ma'am. That was our intention, I think. That's good. All right, that takes us down to item G8, discussion, consideration, and action on the 2026 City Council meeting calendar. Are we creating a calendar?
We're trying.
At least a list of meeting dates.
Oh, list of meetings, okay.
It'll be the ones.
It'd be a great fundraiser.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
You say that when the fire chief isn't here tonight.
Mrs. Nichols. Yes, sorry.
Just making sure. So before you is a proposed city council meeting calendar for 2026. As you guys know, we often have to reschedule some council meetings throughout the year from their normal fourth Tuesday meeting date to comply with statutory requirements related to budget, tax rate, elections. Additionally, we often have to alter dates for holidays to avoid conflicts. To offer improved planning for the year, staff created this calendar that we hope meets all of those requirements. These remain subject to change. If we run up on something where there's a statutory requirement, we will have to move meetings again, but we have looked at the calendar. Several of us have looked at the calendar for budget and tax rate and elections and everything else. So these are the proposed dates for this year. A few of them are not on Tuesdays at all. March 6th, you'll see, is a Friday. That's a strategic planning session, which we added onto the calendar. March 17th is a joint planning and zoning and city council meeting for the comprehensive plan. So in March, we'll have several different council meetings, if you guys want to take note of that. July 17th is a Friday. It's going to be our budget workshop that we have set. That also meets one of our statutory requirements for the budget process.
Would there be a way to do 2 budget workshop days that kind of helps with the
Sure,
variability?
we can change these dates,
Yeah.
particularly the ones highlighted in yellow,
Yeah.
as needed.
Yeah,
So,
I would like to see 2 budget workshop days, because I know, every once in a while something comes up, if one of them can't miss it, I'd like to have a second opportunity. And talking with a couple of citizens, they felt like they didn't have enough chance to listen to the budget, so maybe if there's a second day, this might open up opportunities. Maybe, like, if this one's on a Friday, have it on a different day of the week. Which, I don't know if we need to look at that and.
I think you guys could approve this and then we can just bring back another date that we can just add to it.
I don't see any conflicts.
Because I think the July 17th, I'm out of town, actually, so.
I'll be in Europe.
Really?
Mayor, I'm fixing to start enjoying my life.
Okay, stretching your legs. Wow,
About time.
all right, well, that's 2 out of 5 gone. Is that the same day that y'all are,
I won't be in Europe.
right? Okay,
well, if we're gonna do 2 dates, we'll revamp
It's a good
that
idea.
process a little bit and how
Good
that
idea.
looks. We
Yeah.
may
Send out
wanna
some,
think through how we do that.
send out some options.
Yeah, we can do that.
okay. And you narrowed down where in Europe? You're just,
Austria, Germany,
okay.
Battle of the Bulge area.
All right, yeah, I don't see any immediate conflicts, other than the travel dates that are identified there, but I can take a closer look if we've got time to
Yeah.
kind of give feedback on
I
these.
think it's a good idea.
But all the other dates I like and agree with.
Tentative, yes.
Okay,
We ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the 2026 city council meeting calendar as presented.
Second.
All right, motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, we have a tentative schedule. All right, item G9, consider future agenda items.
I mean, other than looking at that date we just discussed, but
And other than that, I have no idea what's on our February list right now.
So we're likely gonna have, updates to the alcoholic beverage permitting.
Yes.
There's been some changes to the law, so we're gonna revamp some things that we're doing, so I know that'll be on the agenda next month.
And everything else is anybody's guess.
All right, well, that's good. We've finished all of our work.
So hopefully less than 9 items, right?
Well, we'll see. I make no promises. It's a long time
Is
from
that a
now.
challenge?
This felt like a light load. I split it a little bit, you know, Zach carried the first half. I
We
feel-
still have an executive session to go, so don't get too,
But I got a lot of energy left
don't
for
get
it.
too excited.
Oh, this page, right. All right, so nothing else to add for future agenda items?
We'll
Okay.
make sure it's worth your while. I
Yes,
promise.
thank you. Item H, administrative reports. We're gonna receive the reports in the starry night.
I mean, considering it's been 6 weeks since our last meeting, it's
Yeah,
it's actually
really,
fairly
yeah.
light.
Here we go.
Great point.
Here are your reports. Oh, they're changing.
Get refreshed.
Always update.
Okay.
Sales tax grew a little bit.
Yep, spiked up a little bit that month. Looks like maybe things are recovering a little bit economically. Water revenues. Am I missing January on
So
there?
these are the December reports
Oh,
because
good.
we haven't
okay.
quite
Right,
finished January.
yeah, not quite done yet. Okay.
I will keep going, so. All the other numbers look strong. It's hard for me to read. Sorry, going a little fast. Trying to get down here, we did add a few sections down here, I don't know how noticed, here, I'll stop at police, I know you like to look at those numbers, so yeah. Crime is down in December, just so you know, down to 2 thefts.
They've been good for Santa.
Two thefts.
They've been
Down to
good for
2
Santa.
thefts.
Cold
Did they
weather.
steal 2 things, or is that one?
Cold weather.
Never mind.
But we did add, we have economic development section here that Ms. Fargus has added, so you'll
yeah.
start seeing that added.
Good.
Now that we have dedicated economic development director, and then some numbers for city center as
Ooh,
well.
look at
Yes.
this.
It looks kind of stark right now, but as we start to fill in, the usage of that facility, I feel like that'll be
We've already had
That'll be
several meetings,
helpful for you. Yeah.
utilization of the property.
Banquet hall hours, 9.
Yeah, I love the EDC stuff where it's talking about retailers that are interested. Like,
Yes. Amen.
It's one thing to hear people are interested, it's another to see a number.
Exactly.
So hopefully that will help on those 2 areas now
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
have dedicated staff down there. So
That's great.
everything else kind of remains on track.
So response times, I guess the effects of the winter storm, traffic, I mean, they're not gonna be posted in here necessarily, but,
Not till next month.
you're right, any uptick in that? I mean, last time we had Winter Storm Uri, there actually weren't that many traffic accidents.
So people did a great job of staying home
You're
over
right.
the last few days, mercifully.
Very
It really
true.
helps our public safety staff when people stay off of the roadways because the roadway conditions were
It was
atrocious.
dangerous.
It really was, and so we appreciate everyone staying home. We checked in with our public safety and public works personnel every day, and they fared really well. I know all departments brought in extra staff to make sure that we were ready to respond. So no significant impacts or hurdles to public works or public safety.
Let me commend the staff. They did a great job on keeping us informed. There wasn't no guessing. I mean, it was right there. Appreciate that.
Yeah. And
The
the community-
library's got a new director too.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
our public works staff were out in the cold working on a water main break today, so we appreciate them.
Yes,
They're
very
usually
much.
behind the scenes, but they get to do the real dirty jobs, the real cold jobs. So
You're
we
right.
appreciate them.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you to the staff.
Definitely.
It feels good to be in good hands. All right, any question about the KPIs, anything we're seeing here in the reports from staff? All right, that takes us down to item I, executive session, which we actually have today, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, the City Council reserves the right to convene into executive sessions from time to time deemed necessary during this meeting. City Council may convene into executive session to discuss any or all of the following topics: pending or contemplating litigation, or to seek the advice of the city attorney pursuant to Section 551.071, possible purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate pursuant to Section 551.072, personnel matter pursuant to Section 551.074, economic development negotiations pursuant to Section 551.087. Pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.072, the City Council will convene to executive session to discuss the possible purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate or property located at or about Dews Drive. We're gonna meet across the breezeway over there, and we're gonna enter into executive session now. It is 7:21. We'll be back as soon as possible. Time is now 7:44 and council is convened out of executive session. We have direction for staff coming out of this session is to take the materials presented in executive session and present them on an agenda item to describe the options that were included on the item described in the executive session.
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All right, any further discussion? That motion carries. And the time is now, wait a minute, so we reconvened. We're on to item K, adjourn. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn and everybody be safe going home on these treacherous roads.
Second?
Motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed can stay here. The time is 7:45. We are adjourned.
One day we're gonna
Thank
do it
you.
across
Is
the
there
way.
new